Imagine walking into a room filled with people, each smiling, each speaking softly, each pretending to be what they are not. You hear their words, but you feel something else, something hidden behind their polished faces. They laugh at your jokes, but their eyes are cold. They offer you friendship, but their hands are too quick to reach for what is yours. Most men and women are blind to these signals. They take words as truth, they take gestures as sincerity, and they become prey in a world that feeds on the weak. This is the problem. Humanity hides, manipulates, and deceives. And if you cannot see through the mask, you will be used, discarded, and forgotten. You see, the modern world worships appearances. People are trained from childhood to smile while lying, to flatter while envying, to shake your hand while secretly sharpening the blade that will cut you. What makes you vulnerable is not their cunning. It is your blindness. You believe words because you want to believe them. You accept kindness because you hunger for approval. But in truth, kindness is often a weapon, approval a leash, and words nothing more than smoke meant to blind your judgment. This is why you must learn to read people in ways they do not expect. Not by listening to what they say, but by decoding what they reveal without meaning to. This is not about trust. This is about power. If you can see through deception, if you can pierce the mask, then no one can manipulate you. You will stand above the crowd, untouched by the poisons of false friends, deceiving lovers, or treacherous rivals. You will see them for what they truly are, while they still believe you are blind. Most people never ask themselves, how do I know if this person means what they say? They assume, they hope, they trust. But trust is the luxury of the weak. The strong verify, the strong observe. The strong notice the twitch in the eye when a lie is told, the hesitation in the voice when truth is avoided, the restless hands that betray nervous guilt. This is the knowledge I am about to hand you, the ability to read others, to see into them without their consent. And when you do, you gain an advantage so sharp, so decisive, that others will feel as if you can see inside their very soul. But first, let us confront the reality most refuse to admit. People are not honest. They do not present themselves as they truly are. Instead, they wear masks crafted from need and desire. One man wears the mask of confidence because he fears his weakness will be discovered. Another wears the mask of loyalty because he hopes to gain your trust before betraying you. A woman may wear the mask of innocence because she knows it lowers your guard, while another wears the mask of affection because she craves control over your emotions. To navigate this world, you must strip away these masks one by one. How? Not by confronting them. That is the mistake of the amateur. The wise do not accuse, they observe. They allow the liar to speak, then notice the cracks in the performance. They let the manipulator act, then watch the gestures that betray the hidden motive. This is why so many powerful men throughout history survived plots and conspiracies. Because they read the truth in silence, in glances, in tension long before the dagger was raised. When you adopt this mindset, the world begins to change. A meeting is no longer just a meeting. It is a stage where every movement reveals truth. A conversation is no longer just words. It is a battlefield where tone, hesitation, and choice of language become weapons and shields. A lover's embrace is no longer comfort. It is a test, revealing need, fear, or secret ambition. Every moment becomes a text, every gesture a clue, every silence an admission. And the problem you are solving is survival in a deceptive world. Without these skills, you stumble through life blind, believing the stories others feed you, falling into traps laid with smiles and flattery. With these skills, you are no longer a victim. You are no longer prey. You hold the power to look beyond the mask, to know who is false and who is plotting against you. This is the foundation of dark psychology, the ability to see without being seen, to uncover what others fight to keep hidden. For some, this knowledge will feel dangerous, almost forbidden, because it removes the illusions they have clung to. But for those who wish to rise, to protect themselves, and to dominate the games of power, this knowledge is the first step. Remember this, when you cannot read people, you hand them the script. You let them control the narrative. You let them lead you into decisions that serve them, not you. But when you can read anyone, you turn the script against them. You know what they fear, what they want, what they plan to do next. And when you know that, you are untouchable. This is the problem most never solve. They live in blindness, trusting words, hoping for honesty. They think the world is what it pretends to be. But the world is not kind and people are not honest. And unless you master the ability to pierce the mask, you will forever be at their mercy. When you listen to me, do not imagine that I am here to comfort you. My words are not the lullabies of morality, nor are they the soothing lies told by those who want you obedient. I speak in the language of strategy, the language of survival, the language of rulers and predators. If you expect kindness, you have already misunderstood. What I offer you is far more valuable. I offer you clarity stripped of illusions, sharpened into a weapon. This is the narration of power, the voice that speaks not to your emotions, but to the part of you that hungers for control. For centuries, those who ruled the world did not rely on charm alone, nor on honesty. They relied on understanding the hearts and minds of others. They studied behavior like a hawk studies the trembling rabbit. They did not judge people by their words, because they knew words are cheap and infinite. Instead, they judged by action, by hesitation, by what was concealed. And they spoke to their subjects, their allies, and even their enemies in tones that shaped perception, tones that demanded attention, tones that made weakness feel exposed. This is how rulers spoke, and this is how you must think. The narration you hear now is not gentle storytelling. It is not entertainment for idle minds. It is a summons. Every phrase is a command to sharpen your instincts. Every sentence is a test, challenging you to abandon the comfort of naivety. Those who rule, whether kings, conquerors, or cunning leaders in our modern age, speak like this, because they do not waste time on illusions. They impose their presence with voice, with words chosen not for beauty, but for precision. They implant thoughts, shift emotions, and lead others without announcing their intentions. That is Machiavellian narration: words as weapons, voice as strategy, tone as domination. You must understand, people are guided not by truth but by perception. They believe what feels powerful, what sounds certain, what comes from a voice that carries authority. And when you speak, if you wish to be heard, you must speak as if you cannot be doubted. If you narrate your thoughts as I do now, slow, deliberate, with the weight of inevitability, those listening will feel that your words are not opinions, but laws carved in stone. This is how you rise above the noise. This is how you ensure obedience without force. But narration alone is not enough. The secret is alignment between tone and intent. When you deliver knowledge of dark psychology, you must not sound like a scholar lost in theory. You must sound like a strategist handing down instructions for war. You must let your words cut like blades, each phrase revealing not what is polite, but what is real. For the audience, for the listener, this is intoxicating. They feel as if they are being initiated into forbidden knowledge, a knowledge reserved for rulers, not for the common herd. And let me tell you this, most people have never heard words spoken in this way. They are accustomed to teachers who apologize for truth, leaders who wrap commands in sugar, friends who soften their honesty until it becomes meaningless. That is why when they hear a voice that refuses to bend, that speaks with sharpness, with authority, with no hesitation, they feel compelled to listen. Even if they resist, they cannot turn away. The voice of power makes silence around it. This is the effect you must learn to cultivate. Every great deceiver, every great manipulator, every master of influence has understood this. They know that the first step in controlling others is not action, but narration. The way you describe the world becomes the way others see it. The way you name their weaknesses becomes the way they feel them. If you say they are weak, they feel weak. If you say they are uncertain, they feel uncertainty spread through their body. And if you declare with conviction that you see through their lies, they will believe you can, even when you cannot. This is not magic, it is mastery of narration. What separates the strong from the weak is not merely knowledge, but how that knowledge is delivered. Weak words, spoken in a weak tone, will be ignored even if the truth is hidden inside them. But strong words, spoken with ruthless confidence, will be followed even if they are lies. Do not mistake this. People do not obey truth, they obey power. And power is projected in every word, in every pause, in every breath you take before speaking. This is why you must learn to narrate like a ruler, even in private moments. Not only when you speak to others, but when you speak to yourself. The voice you use to command your own mind becomes the voice others hear when you command theirs. If your inner narration is filled with doubt, hesitation, apology, then your outer narration will betray you. But if your inner voice is iron, if it speaks to you as a commander speaks to soldiers, then no hesitation will creep into your words when you face others. You will sound inevitable, and inevitability is the language of rulers. Consider this narration as the model. Do you feel how every word carries weight? Do you feel how each phrase leaves no room for argument? This is deliberate. It is designed not to soothe, but to dominate. It is designed to make you see the world not as you wish it to be, but as it is, a battlefield of masks, lies, and hidden motives. If you can adopt this style, you will discover that people no longer resist your words. They yield, often unconsciously. They follow your lead, because in your voice they hear what they lack: certainty. That is the essence of Machiavellian narration. It is not the loudest voice, nor the most dramatic. It is the voice that cuts through illusions, that imposes itself as truth, that makes silence fall in its presence. It is the voice of someone who has already decided the outcome, and now speaks not to debate, but to declare. Now we arrive at the arsenal itself, the collection of weapons I promised you. 14 dark psychology tricks that allow you to read anyone. no matter how carefully they hide, no matter how perfectly they rehearse their lies. Each trick is a blade hidden in your cloak, a way to slice through the illusions of others without them ever knowing you hold the knife. And remember, these are not games. They are survival. To master them is to see the truth no one wants you to see. The first is the language of the eyes. Eyes are the traitors of the body. Words can be rehearsed, gestures can be practiced, but the eyes betray the soul. When a person lies, their pupils often shift rapidly, as if trying to escape the weight of the question. When they speak truth, their gaze steadies, not forced but natural. To train yourself to read eyes is to see beyond the mask of words. Do not stare aggressively, for that alerts them. Watch calmly as if uninterested, and you will catch the flicker of fear that reveals deception. The second trick is silence. Most people fear silence because it exposes them. After they give you an explanation or excuse, do not rush to respond. Say nothing. Let the silence stretch like a blade at their throat. The guilty cannot bear it. They will speak again, and in that second wave of words, the truth leaks out. The innocent rest calmly in silence. The guilty fill it with unnecessary details. Learn to weaponize silence, and you will control every conversation. The third is mirroring shadows. Human beings crave acceptance. When you subtly mirror their posture, their breathing, even the tilt of their head, they subconsciously feel a connection to you. If they resist returning this mirrored behavior, it means they do not trust you, or they are hiding something. When the connection fails to form, it is not by accident. It is their inner guard refusing to yield. This tells you more than any confession. The fourth is the mask of the smile. Watch carefully how people smile. A true smile engages the eyes, lifting the muscles around them. A false smile exists only on the lips tight and strained. When someone smiles without their eyes, they are concealing something, disdain, anger, or manipulation. A smile without warmth is a knife disguised as kindness. The fifth trick is the shifting voice. When emotions rise, the voice betrays the truth before the mind can control it. A sudden stammer, a tightening pitch, a pause too long, these are cracks in the performance. The body struggles to carry the lie, and the voice buckles under the strain. If you listen closely, you will hear more in the spaces between words than in the words themselves. The sixth is the foot's betrayal. The face may lie, but the feet rarely do. In moments of tension, people's feet point toward where they want to be, not where they are. If someone claims they are comfortable with you, yet their feet angle toward the exit, they are lying. The body whispers its desire for escape. The seventh is forced stillness. When someone tries too hard to appear calm, they often freeze unnaturally. Their body becomes rigid, their movements mechanical, their expression fixed. This is not calmness. This is control, a desperate attempt to mask inner chaos. Observe the stiffness, and you will know they are hiding something. The eighth is the hand's confession. When people feel guilt or anxiety, they touch their face, neck, or hair unconsciously, as if trying to shield themselves. The hands are restless when the mind is conflicted. A person who touches their face excessively while speaking is betraying doubt. The hands, more than the lips, reveal the truth. The ninth is conversational evasion. Ask a direct question, then watch if the answer diverts, changes topic, or circles around the subject. Evasion is not ignorance. It is concealment. The guilty rarely say, "I don't know." Instead, they drown you in irrelevant words. Learn to cut through this fog, and you will find what they hide. The 10th trick is micro-expressions. These are flashes of raw emotion that appear on the face before the mask returns. A flicker of anger, a flash of fear, a twitch of contempt. They vanish in less than a second, but once you train your eyes to see them, you will never miss them. The mask slips for a heartbeat, and the truth is exposed. The 11th is the testing question. Present a statement that you know to be false and watch their reaction. The liar will often agree too quickly, desperate to appear aligned with you. The honest will hesitate, confused by the falsehood. In that hesitation lies the truth. The 12th is the shift of breathing. Stress alters the rhythm of breath. When someone is calm, their breathing is steady and deep. When they lie, when they hide, when they fear exposure, the breath becomes shallow, uneven, rushed. Watch the rise and fall of their chest. It tells you the secrets their mouth will never admit. The 13th is the weight of touch. Pay attention to how they use touch in conversation. The manipulator may touch too often, trying to disarm you, trying to make you trust them. The deceiver may withdraw touch completely, fearful that closeness will reveal their lie. The balance of touch reveals whether the intent is genuine or strategic. And the 14th, the most powerful of all, is contradiction. Listen for when words and actions do not align. When someone says they are confident, yet their body trembles. When they claim to support you, yet their tone drips with envy. When they declare loyalty, yet their eyes calculate betrayal. Contradiction is the purest signal of truth. Ignore what they say, watch what they do. That is the reality. These 14 weapons will make you dangerous. They allow you to see what others cannot, to pierce the mask every human wears. And once you master them, you will find that the world becomes transparent. No one can lie to you without trembling. No one can hide their intent without exposing it in gesture, tone, or silence. Every word you hear from me carries weight, not because of the sound, but because of the force behind it. Authority is not granted by chance. It is not given freely by others. Authority is seized, forged, and projected until no one dares question it. When I speak, I do not ask for belief. I do not beg for attention. I demand it by the sheer inevitability of my tone. That is the voice you must learn to recognize and eventually cultivate. The voice of authority, the voice that transforms knowledge into command. In the realm of power, the narrator is not merely a guide. The narrator is the architect of perception. To control the story is to control the minds of those who hear it. Authority does not come from titles or positions. Authority comes from certainty, from presence, from a voice that bends reality in its favor. When I describe the world to you, you do not wander into your own conclusions. You feel my words press against your mind until they form your conclusions for you. This is how authority works. It shapes thought before resistance can form. Think carefully about how others speak to you. Most voices tremble with uncertainty. They rush their sentences, as if afraid of silence. They drown their words in apologies, as if seeking permission to speak. These voices hold no authority because they reveal weakness. Authority speaks differently. It slows down, unafraid of silence. It allows pauses to weigh on the listener, making them anticipate the next word. It does not explain itself, it declares. And in that declaration lies the difference between a follower and a ruler. You must understand authority is not loudness. The weak confuse volume with power. They shout to cover their insecurity. They raise their voices hoping to force obedience. True authority does not need to shout. It speaks in a controlled tone, each word measured, each phrase deliberate as though carved into stone. Those who hear it feel no need to argue. They feel only that resistance is futile. Authority is not noise. Authority is inevitability. When you listen to this narration, you sense something others may not admit out loud. The sense that these words are not suggestions, but instructions. That this is not mere advice, but doctrine. That is because authority plants itself in the mind like a command, not a request. Weak narration says, maybe. Authority says, it is so. And the human mind, whether it wishes to or not, bends to that force. Do you see now why rulers throughout history surrounded themselves with voices of authority? A general who speaks like a beggar cannot lead soldiers into battle. A leader who speaks like a victim cannot rally loyalty. Even a deceiver must wear authority in his voice if he wishes his lies to be believed. Authority is not optional. It is the lifeblood of influence. Without it, knowledge is ignored, wisdom is dismissed, power is wasted. With it, even a lie can reshape nations. But there is a deeper truth. Authority is not only what you project outward, it is what you command inward. Your inner narration defines the limits of your strength. If you speak to yourself with doubt, if you tell yourself you cannot, if your inner voice trembles with fear, then your outer voice will betray you, no matter how much you try to hide it. To carry authority, you must first command your own mind. You must speak to yourself with the same force that I speak to you now. No hesitation, no apology, only direction. When your inner voice becomes law, your outer voice becomes unshakable. This is why those who listen to true authority fall silent. They feel the difference between someone reciting words and someone commanding reality. The former is easily ignored, the latter cannot be. Authority is not in the content alone, but in the delivery. The same sentence spoken weakly is dismissed. Spoken with authority, it becomes a prophecy. The words may be identical, but the effect is worlds apart. To master dark psychology, to read others, to dominate the games of influence, you must not only observe, you must embody the voice of the narrator, the one who speaks above the noise, who defines what is seen and what is hidden. You cannot hope to expose deception if your own presence is uncertain. Authority must radiate from you in every word, in every silence, in every gaze. When you ask a question, it must sound less like curiosity and more like judgment. When you reveal an observation, it must sound less like speculation and more like a verdict. That is how you control the frame. Authority also carries with it an unspoken threat, not violence, not anger, but inevitability. When people hear authority, they sense that resistance is useless. They sense that you already know, already see, already control the outcome. This is why they yield, why they comply, why they confess more than they intended. Authority does not chase obedience. Authority creates obedience. You must also recognize that authority breeds loyalty and fear in equal measure. Some will cling to it, desperate to be led, desperate for someone who seems certain in a world of confusion. Others will resent it, for your authority exposes their weakness. They will feel small in your presence. They will hate you for making them see what they lack. Do not fear their resentment. Their hatred is proof of your power. To hold authority is to divide the world between those who follow and those who plot. Both are necessary. Both confirm that your presence cannot be ignored. When you cultivate this voice, when you shape your narration into command, you will no longer need to explain yourself. People will seek your approval without you asking. They will lower their defenses in your presence, as if compelled to confess. They will follow your lead, not because you begged for it, but because you made them believe there was no alternative. Authority does not argue. Authority declares, and the world shifts to match its words.